They said you couldn't do it. They said you weren't enough. They laughed at your dreams, doubted your strength, and whispered behind your back that you would never make it. But let me tell you something powerful. Every time someone doubts you, they hand you the very fuel you need to rise higher. The greatest victories are born out of the greatest rejections, and the most successful people in history were once told they would fail. This message is not just another speech, it's your wake-up call. Stay with me until the end, and I will show you how to take every insult, every setback, every rejection, and turn it into undeniable proof that you were never destined to be ordinary. If you've ever been overlooked, underestimated, or told you're not capable, this message is for you. The power of doubt as fuel is one of the greatest hidden strengths you can ever learn to master. Doubt will come at you from every direction, sometimes from strangers who know nothing about you, sometimes from people close to you who cannot see your potential, and often from the inner critic inside your own mind. But doubt itself is not your enemy. Doubt is energy, and like fire, it can either burn you down or propel you forward. The choice is yours. You can allow the words spoken against you to sink into your spirit and chain you to mediocrity. You can use them as a spark to ignite your drive, to push you to do what they said you couldn't, and to rise higher than anyone expected. When people doubt you, what they are really revealing is their own limitation, not yours. They project their fears, their insecurities, and their failures onto you, hoping you will adopt them as your truth. But if you refuse to receive their labels, you can transform their doubt into the very energy that strengthens your determination. Every insult becomes a reason to keep going. Every rejection becomes another push forward. Every voice that says, "You can't," becomes a reminder to prove that you can. In this way, doubt stops being a chain and starts being fuel for your journey. Think of the greatest achievers in any field. Almost all of them were doubted at some point. They were told they were not smart enough, not strong enough, not talented enough, not qualified enough. Yet instead of bowing to those voices, they decided to make those words their motivation. They let doubt light a fire under them, a fire so strong it could not be extinguished. They turned rejection into resilience and disbelief into discipline. This is the secret you must grasp. Doubt can break you if you let it, but it can also become the most powerful force behind your success if you decide to flip its meaning. Rejection is one of the most painful experiences a human being can face. But when you begin to see it differently, you realize it is not the end of your story. It is a redirection towards something far greater. Too many people allow a single no to define their worth, their abilities, and their future. They hear one rejection letter, one closed door, one dismissive voice, and they decide that their dream is dead. But rejection is never the final word. It is only feedback from life, telling you that where you are is not where you are meant to stay. Every carries within it the seed of a greater yes, and the people who rise to greatness are the ones who refuse to let rejection stop them. Instead, they use it as a compass pointing toward a new path. Think about how rejection feels. It cuts deep, it bruises pride, it creates self-doubt. But hidden inside that sting is also the opportunity to grow tougher, wiser, and more resilient. Every time someone tells you no, they are really saying you are destined for a different door, a different opportunity, a different season. If you accept that truth, rejection becomes redirection. It becomes the very process by which you are guided into alignment with your true destiny. Without rejection, many people would stay stuck in small places, content with less than they are capable of. But rejection pushes you out of comfort and forces you to discover more. History is filled with people who faced rejection before achieving greatness. Authors whose manuscripts were turned away countless times, entrepreneurs whose ideas were dismissed, performers who were told they had no talent. Imagine if they had stopped at that first no. The world would have missed their genius. What made them different was not that rejection avoided them, but that they redefined it. They understood that rejection is not a wall, but a detour sign, pointing them toward the road they were meant to travel. They embraced rejection as part of the process and kept moving forward. When you begin to redefine rejection, you take back your power. No longer do you internalize every no as a statement about your value. Instead, you recognize it as life's way of saying, not here, not now, but keep going. The danger is not in being rejected. The danger is in stopping because of rejection. Too many dreams have died not because they were impossible, but because someone took a no and built a cage around themselves. But the truth is, rejection is only as powerful as the meaning you attach to it. If you choose to see it as redirection, it loses its power to discourage you and gains the power to guide you. Every no sharpens your vision. It forces you to evaluate your approach, strengthen your skills, and prepare yourself for the right opportunity. In that sense, rejection is training. It teaches you perseverance, discipline, and humility. It humbles you enough to keep learning, but strengthens you enough to keep fighting. And when the right, yes, finally comes, you are ready for it in ways you never would have been without the lessons rejection taught you. The next time you face rejection, pause before letting disappointment take over. Ask yourself, what is this moment redirecting me toward? What lesson is hidden here? What better opportunity lies ahead that I cannot yet see? With that mindset, rejection becomes less about loss and more about preparation. It becomes a step forward instead of a step back. Rejection is not a curse. It is a gift disguised as disappointment. It strips away what is not for you and clears the path to what is truly meant for you. Every no is simply a doorway closing so that you are forced to find the one that opens. And when you finally step through that right door, you will look back on every rejection with gratitude, realizing that those painful moments were never the end. They were the redirections that carried you exactly where you were always meant to be. Talent is a beautiful gift, but it is not enough on its own. Talent can open doors, impress people, and give you a head start, but without discipline, it cannot carry you to the finish line. Discipline is the difference between those who flash with potential for a short season and those who build a legacy that endures. Discipline is the daily decision to do what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It is the backbone of greatness, the foundation upon which dreams are built, and the fuel that sustains you when motivation fades. While talent may start the race, it is discipline that ensures you finish it. Talent can attract attention quickly, but it cannot sustain results without structure. You might have the natural ability to sing, to speak, to lead, or to innovate, but unless you refine that ability day after day, it will remain raw and eventually wither. How many people have you seen who were brilliant in their youth, but because they lacked the discipline to train, grow, and stay consistent, they never reached the heights they were capable of? On the other hand, countless individuals with average talent but extraordinary discipline have surpassed the gifted because they kept showing up when others quit. Discipline always outlasts raw talent. Discipline is also what protects you when challenges come. Talent alone can make you overconfident, but discipline grounds you. Life will test you with setbacks, failures, and distractions. If you rely only on talent, those tests can break you. But when you are disciplined, you have built habits that keep you moving forward no matter how hard the storm hits. Discipline trains you to get up early, stay focused, keep learning, and never stop practicing. It becomes your anchor, ensuring that no matter how unpredictable the outside world is, your inner commitment remains unshaken. Another reason discipline triumphs over talent is that it produces consistency, and consistency is what builds trust. People do not follow those who show brilliance one day and vanish the next. They follow those who prove reliable over time. Success in any field, business, art, sports, leadership, depends on the trust you build with others, and that trust comes from showing up again and again, producing results even when circumstances are not perfect. Talent may dazzle people once, but discipline keeps them coming back. Discipline also shapes character. Talent can make you proud, but discipline makes you humble, because discipline requires sacrifice. It asks you to put aside distractions, to endure discomfort, to keep going when the rewards are not immediate. That process builds resilience, patience, and strength. It turns you into the kind of person who not only achieves goals, but sustains them. Without discipline, success can destroy a person because they are unprepared for the weight of it. With discipline, success becomes manageable because the character built through consistent effort equips you to handle it. Think about the greatest athletes, performers, or leaders in history. Many were talented, but what truly set them apart was their discipline. They trained harder than others, studied longer, worked when no one was watching, and refused to stop even when they had already achieved success. Talent may put you in the spotlight, but discipline ensures you stay there with dignity and growth. It is the silent force working behind the scenes, unseen by most, but visible in the results it produces over time. Discipline also gives birth to freedom. At first, discipline feels restrictive. Early mornings, long hours, strict routines. But over time, it creates mastery. Mastery gives you confidence, and confidence gives you freedom. When you are disciplined in your craft, you no longer fear competition, rejection, or failure, because you know you have put in the work. Discipline turns fear into faith and uncertainty into clarity. It transforms talent into excellence and excellence into legacy. Talent may open the door, but only discipline allows you to walk through it and stay there. Talent may light the spark, but discipline keeps the fire burning. Talent may start the race, but discipline is the steady stride that carries you across the finish line. If you want lasting success, do not rely only on what you were born with. Commit yourself to the daily grind, the quiet work, the unseen sacrifice. Because talent fades without discipline, but discipline grows stronger with time. And when the race is done, it will not be the most talented who stand victorious. It will be the most disciplined. Pain is one of the greatest teachers life will ever give you. It comes dressed as struggle, failure, and setback, but behind its disguise is a force that has the power to shape you into someone unbreakable. Too often people see pain as a curse, as something unfair or unnecessary, but the truth is pain is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to train you. Every hardship carries within it a lesson. Every disappointment holds a seed of growth, and every struggle is a gymnasium for the spirit. When you learn to stop running from pain and instead use it as fuel, you discover the secret of turning pain into power. Struggles sharpen you, just like a blade is forged in fire and hammered until it is strong enough to cut. Your spirit is refined in the furnace of pain. If life were always easy, you would remain soft, untested, and unprepared for the challenges of destiny. But when you face difficulties, you are being strengthened. Each obstacle forces you to dig deeper, to build resilience, to develop skills and endurance you never would have discovered in comfort. Pain stretches you, and in that stretching, you grow. Failures are often misinterpreted as final verdicts, when in reality they are stepping stones. Every failure is feedback. It shows you what doesn't work, pushes you to innovate, and humbles you enough to learn. Some of the greatest achievements in history were born out of repeated failures. People who went bankrupt before becoming successful, inventors who tested hundreds of times before creating breakthroughs, leaders who faced rejection before gaining influence. The difference between those who rise and those who stay down is not the absence of failure, but the decision to treat failure as training. They understood that every misstep was preparing them for the next leap. Setbacks, too, are not signals of defeat, but pauses of preparation. Sometimes life holds you back not to punish you, but to protect you from moving too quickly into places you are not ready for. A setback can be the space where you gather strength, refine your vision, and prepare yourself for a greater comeback. In fact, the size of your setback often reflects the size of your future breakthrough. The deeper the valley, the higher the mountain you are being prepared to climb. When you see setbacks this way, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Turning pain into power requires a shift in perspective. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. Pain will either paralyze you or propel you, depending on the meaning you attach to it. If you see it as a curse, you will shrink. If you see it as training, you will rise stronger. The choice is yours. By embracing pain as a teacher, you rob it of its power to harm you and instead make it serve you. Pain also deepens empathy. When you have walked through struggles, you develop compassion for others facing similar battles. This empathy is itself a form of power. It allows you to lead with understanding, to connect with people on a deeper level, and to inspire them with authenticity. People do not follow those who have never fallen. They follow those who have fallen, risen, and carry the scars as proof that survival is possible. Your pain becomes someone else's hope when you choose to turn it into power. Most importantly, pain builds unshakable faith in yourself. Once you have endured hardship and risen from it, you carry the knowledge that nothing can break you permanently. That inner strength becomes a shield. Future struggles no longer intimidate you because you know you have survived before and will survive again. This confidence transforms you into a force that setbacks cannot stop, failures cannot define, and struggles cannot defeat. Pain is not the enemy. It is the sculptor. It shapes you into someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you could ever become without it. Struggles, failures, and setbacks are not curses. They are the training grounds of greatness. When you learn to turn pain into power, every hardship becomes an opportunity, every wound becomes wisdom, and every defeat becomes preparation for victory. Instead of breaking you, pain builds you. And when you rise carrying that power, you prove that nothing in life was wasted. Every ounce of pain was transformed into strength, resilience, and destiny. There comes a defining moment in every life when you must decide whose voice will shape your destiny. The voice of others with their opinions, or the voice within you that knows its purpose. Too many people remain trapped because they are living for approval rather than living for purpose. They measure their steps by what others might say, they shrink their dreams to avoid criticism, and they silence their passion because they fear judgment. But the truth is simple. The moment you stop living for the opinions of others and start living for your true vision and purpose, you become unstoppable. Opinions are everywhere. People will always have something to say. Too young, too old, too inexperienced, too ambitious, too unrealistic. If you let every opinion dictate your choices, you will spend your life imprisoned by other people's limitations. But those opinions are not your truth. They are projections of someone else's fears, failures, and insecurities. When you anchor yourself in your vision, you break free from the weight of those voices. You stop asking for permission and start walking in conviction. Purpose is stronger than opinion, and when you walk in purpose, opinions lose their power. Living for approval is exhausting. It forces you to wear masks, to constantly adjust who you are to please different people, and to chase validation that never lasts. Approval is like a drug. It gives you a temporary high but leaves you empty again. Living for purpose, however, gives you peace. It roots you in clarity, in meaning, in direction. You no longer need to bend yourself into shapes to fit someone else's mold, because you are already aligned with a higher calling. Purpose gives you an internal compass, a guiding star that no criticism can dim. When you live with vision beyond opinions, you gain courage. Every great dream will attract doubters, but those doubters are powerless against someone who knows why they are here. Purpose makes you resilient. You can face rejection, ridicule, and even failure without breaking, because you know that your mission is bigger than temporary opposition. Opinions may sting, but they cannot derail a person driven by vision. That kind of focus is magnetic. It draws resources, people, and opportunities into your path, because the world naturally aligns with those who are certain about their direction. Living for purpose also brings authenticity. When you stop performing for others and start living for what you are truly called to do, you begin to radiate something rare. Authenticity is powerful because it resonates deeply with others. People may not agree with your choices, but they will respect the truth they sense in you. More importantly, authenticity frees you from the exhausting burden of trying to please everyone. You step into freedom, the freedom to be yourself fully, to chase your dream boldly, and to live your life unapologetically. That freedom is the essence of being unstoppable. Vision beyond opinions transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Without a clear vision, every negative comment feels like a wall. But when you know your purpose, those same comments become fuel. Every time someone says you cannot, your vision reminds you that you must. Purpose redefines obstacles as opportunities to prove your strength, to sharpen your skills, and to deepen your commitment. The louder the opinions, the greater the opportunity to rise. One of the greatest truths about vision is that it always outlives opinions. Opinions change with the wind. Today they cheer you, tomorrow they criticize you. But purpose endures. It is the constant thread that carries you through seasons of both applause and silence. When you live for purpose, you do not rise and fall with the approval of others. You rise because you were built to rise. You persist because your mission demands it. You succeed because quitting is no longer an option. At the end of your life, no one's opinion will matter. What will matter is whether you fulfilled your purpose, whether you followed your vision, whether you lived the life you were meant to live. The critics will be silent, the doubters forgotten, but your legacy will speak. And that legacy will be the proof that you chose vision over opinion, purpose over approval, destiny over distraction. The moment you stop living for approval and start living for purpose, something shifts inside you. You no longer move timidly, you move boldly. You no longer hesitate, you act decisively. You no longer fear being different, you embrace it as your power. In that moment, you become unstoppable because nothing and no one can compete with a soul on fire with vision. Success is the language that every critic understands, even when they refuse to admit it. No amount of arguing, explaining, or defending yourself can silence those who doubt you the way undeniable achievement can. Words can be twisted, dismissed, or ignored, but results cannot be denied. Success stands as the final answer, the ultimate response to those who laughed at you, underestimated you, or tried to hold you back. When your actions produce results that shine brighter than opinions, you no longer need to debate your worth. Your life speaks for itself. Critics thrive on your hesitation. They want you to defend yourself, to justify your dream, to explain why you're worthy of the goal you're pursuing. But the truth is, you do not owe them explanations. Every ounce of energy spent trying to convince others could be spent building your vision. Arguments win moments, but success wins lifetimes. The moment you shift your focus from proving people wrong with words to proving them wrong with results, you reclaim your power. You stop being reactive and start being productive. Success is the ultimate silencer because it is evidence. People may argue with your dreams, but they cannot argue with your reality when it manifests. They may say you are not capable, but they cannot deny it when your achievements tower in front of them. Think of every great figure who was told they couldn't make it, who was mocked, rejected, or dismissed. Their power was not in defending themselves against every critic. It was in building, creating, and succeeding until their results silenced every voice against them. In the end, success makes the noise unnecessary. Achievement also shifts the atmosphere of respect. Critics who once doubted you are often the same people who applaud you when they see what you've accomplished. This is not because their hearts changed, but because success has a way of forcing acknowledgement. Even enemies bow to undeniable results. Your victories become proof that what was once called impossible is now reality. The same people who once ignored you will be forced to say your name, not because they wanna, but because your success leaves them no choice. But success is not just about silencing critics, it is about affirming yourself. The greatest power of success is not external, but internal. It is the deep sense of knowing that you stayed the course, that you pushed through doubt, rejection, and struggle, and that you came out victorious. That internal confidence is worth more than any applause or recognition because it cannot be taken away. Critics may fade, crowds may change, but the self-belief that comes from achieving what you set out to do will remain with you forever. Success also has the power to inspire others. When you succeed, you don't just prove your critics wrong, you prove to others who are watching that it is possible. Your life becomes a testimony, a living example that dreams can come true, that hard work pays off, and that perseverance wins. Many people who never believed in themselves will find courage because of your success. And in that way, the final answer you give to critics becomes the starting point for someone else's journey. Of course, success is not easy. It demands sacrifice, discipline, resilience, and unwavering focus. But that is what makes it such a powerful response. Anyone can argue, complain, or give excuses. Few are willing to stay committed long enough to achieve undeniable results. That is why success carries so much authority. It is rare, it is costly, and it requires persistence that critics often lack themselves. When you achieve it, you separate yourself from the noise. You become proof of what dedication can accomplish. At the end of the day, success is not about revenge, Though it may feel satisfying to see critics silenced, it is about becoming the person you were destined to be. The best revenge is not bitterness, it is excellence. The best response is not anger, it is achievement. Your critics are not your focus, your destiny is. And when you fulfill that destiny, you will find that the noise of criticism fades on its own. You don't have to fight every battle with words. You don't have to answer every doubter or convince every skeptic. Let your results do the talking. Let your achievements speak louder than their opinions. Build, rise, and succeed until your very existence is the proof they said would never come. Success is the final answer, an answer so clear, so undeniable, that it echoes louder than any critic's voice and leaves no room for doubt. The message has been clear from the beginning. Life will always give you doubters, critics, and voices telling you that you can't. But the theme of this journey has shown us something greater. Those voices do not have the final word, you do. We began by learning that doubt, instead of breaking you, can fuel you. Every harsh word, every dismissive laugh, every whisper against your name can become fire in your spirit to push harder and rise higher. Then we saw that rejection is not the end. It is redirection. Every no is simply pointing you closer to the right opportunity, the right door, the right destiny that was waiting for you all along. We uncovered the truth that talent may open the race, but only discipline carries you to the finish line. Talent without structure fades, but discipline builds legacies that last. Pain too, which many see as punishment, is actually power in disguise. Every struggle, every failure, every setback has been training ground, shaping you into someone unbreakable. And we saw how vision is the compass that outshines opinions. The moment you stop seeking approval and start living for purpose, no voice can stop you. Finally, we recognized that the greatest response to doubt is not words but results. Success is the ultimate answer. It silences critics and inspires others more powerfully than any defense ever could. So here is the conclusion: stop letting doubt define you and use it to drive you. Stop letting rejection discourage you and let it redirect you. Stop relying only on talent and anchor yourself in discipline. Stop fearing pain and turn it into power. Stop living for the opinions of others and live for your vision. And above all, let your life, your success, and your legacy be the final word. Because in the end, the best way to prove them wrong is not to fight, argue, or explain. It is to rise, to achieve, and to become everything they said you could not be. And when you do, you will no longer need to say a word. Your life will speak loud enough.